Hello everyone. Now we are going to deal with pathogenesis and pathophysiology of bronchiectasis. Because bronchiectasis is caused by two major diseases, one is cystic fibrosis and the other that is very commonly seen in Asia is tuberculosis. Now we are going to understand through diagrammatic presentation, which I am going to show you right now. We have to understand that I'll give you a very short hint about cystic fibrosis. It occurs because there is deficiency in genes, there is mutation in genes, and there is a deficiency of CFTR, which means cystic fibrosis transmembrane regulator. When this is deficient, it actually is responsible for regulation of water and sodium and chloride in the body. Once that is deficient, it is definitely going to cause a hypertonic, isotonic, hypotonic, other reactions to the mucous lining of GIT or to skin or to wherever there is mucosal lining. Now, because cystic fibrosis, there is deficiency of CFTR, the cells are now not able to pass on chloride and hence sodium and water also comes back into the cell. I am going to show you this with diagrammatic presentation. As you can see, this is the bronchial tree. Now, this portion is primarily I have taken for cystic fibrosis. What pathophysiology occurs when cystic fibrosis is present in a person and which leads to bronchiectasis in a longer duration? Now, we have to understand, now for normal, just understand if this is a normal cell. There are 3 points that I have made. One is for chloride, sodium and of course water. Now, chloride normally goes out and as it excludes out, sodium and water automatically are reabsorbed in the body. So this is a normal mechanism that chloride will go out, sodium and water will be reabsorbed. Hence, the regulation is maintained. Now, if this regulation is affected, which generally occurs because there is CFTR deficiency or there is minus, as in there is no presence of CFTR. So what happens? I've made a cell here. I've made 3 points. It's for chloride, sodium and water. Because of deficiency of CFTR, the chloride is trapped. It does not go out. So it is not able to, the chloride ion is not able to go inside. And in return, because of the accumulation of chloride in the cell, the sodium and water are absorbed more. They are reabsorbed more in number. So what happens when these things happen, the hydration here that should occur. Always remember, any tube needs two things for its motility. One is cilia, the other is proper moisture. And that moisture comes because of the cells that are present. Once these cells are into trouble, that is going to cause a water retention or dehydration or whatever is present in the body. Here dehydration will occur because the sodium and water are going to be reabsorbed in the cell. The chloride is not ready to come inside the tubules or inside the bronchus. So what happens? A dehydrative state comes. So the solution there is isotonic solution. Alright, so this, if you can see in blue, it's a moist part that we have shown. Now, because it is dehydrated, the secretions that are coming in the bronchus, because there is deficiency of water, how it is going to become? It is going to become thick and viscous. So the material that accumulates here is not watery or it's not easily thrown out. It becomes viscous. It becomes little thick. And because of that, the cilia are not able to push it up. They do not escalate the mucus that is getting accumulated. Now, because of this, obstruction occurs in cystic fibrosis. Understood? So, because of this obstruction, there is going to be dilatation of the bronchus. Because it is going to keep on accumulating, the cilia are not able to push it up. There is dehydration, there is isotonic solution in the bronchus, and that is caused because of no CFTR. That is the reason cystic fibrosis mostly give rise to this kind of bronchiectasis. Now, second thing that we have to understand, which we have already learned, that primary ciliary akinesia or slow movement of cilia can also cause bronchiectasis. Now, I'll show you in this part. This pink colors are cilia. These are cells. Alright. Now this cilia is responsible for escalating the mucus. When this cilia itself is very slow, or genetically cilia are absent in a person, the genes are absent in a person, that is going to make movement for the cilia. The cilia will not push it. The mucus is going to accumulate. It is going to call for infection. It is going to dilate the bronchus, and slowly, because of the pathogen, there is going to be destruction as well. So these two causes that we have seen, one is cystic fibrosis and one there is ciliary movement problem. Okay, now as I've mentioned about the cilia, because of the ciliary disease, that is one of the major disease that occur in Gardner syndromes, it is said as. In this Gardner syndrome, there is absence of cilia. So mostly these people are affected with frequent sinusitis because the sinuses are constantly filled, the lungs are constantly filled. Because of this multiple problems since small when you are a small kid or since childhood, when this occurs, the main reason that is because the cilia is actually absent and not able to function properly, and this could be one of the causes for bronchiectasis also. Now another very important thing that I am going to teach you here is, this is the, if you cut and see the gross, this is the cell, stratified columnar epithelium that is present, and because it is present here, there are cilia here that actually pass on the mucus. Now if suppose there is chronic infection in a person is going either had tuberculosis or pneumonia in the past, was affected by pathogens. See, if you see, there is, I've made a tuberculosis thing also, the pathogens will come here and affect the bronchus. What actually happens, you know, what happens that there is an inflammatory process. Initially it was this cell. So when that inflammatory process occurs, infection occurs, and this happens only because a person is getting affected by that pathogen again and again. There is a chronic infection in the person. It swells up to this part. And because when it swells up to this part, there is accumulation of pus starts here. Because destruction occurs, it becomes hypertrophied. If it reimburses itself, it regrowths itself, then there is no problem. But when external interstitium gets affected, then there is pus formation and the pus starts accumulating here. That is why in chronic infection there is profuse sputum production in the patients of bronchiectasis. Now because of chronic infection, this could be the case, it becomes dilated. You can see it has become dilated, and because of the pus, of course there is obstruction and there is a lot of sputum production. Now another thing that is we have to understand is that in this there could be obstruction, as in there could be tumor. So there could be a bronchial tumor here, or if somebody has inhaled a peanut and that has got stuck over here, and because it is stuck here, the discharges are not able to go up, the person is not able to throw it out, or because it's a tumor and it is obstructing the pathology here and the mucus is not able to go up and down, there is isotonicity, there is viscous material present here. This is also going to give dilatation to the bronchus. So I hope that you have understand the pathophysiology. It is very important to understand one very basic concept. First, always remember, bronchiectasis starts with an infection. That infection leads to inflammation of the bronchus. Now when that inflammatory process starts, two things occur. One is exudate comes up. Because of the exudate, the liquid that comes up, because of the ions that are present outside the bronchus in the cells, that is going to create an exudative and that is going to obstruct. So exudate, when there is an inflammatory process, exudates will come and destruction may occur. Exudate is going to do what? It is going to secrete, it is going to accumulate the viscous material. That is going to cause dilatation of bronchus. Now when there is destruction because of infection, pathogens come, there is tuberculosis in a person, the person has been untreated for pneumonia and frequent pneumonias are occurring, or tuberculosis from a very long time has been there. So this person might develop destruction, actual destruction in the bronchus, and that may cause obstruction. because it is going to get dilated. There is going to be pus formation because debris will be formed because of the destruction. And we have to understand what is bronchiectasis. It is dilatation that occurs because of exudate, that occurs because of pus in the bronchus, and destruction that occurs because of chronic infection in the body. Causes could be anything. It could be genetic, like cystic fibrosis, or when there is, as we have also mentioned, one more cause, which was hypogammaglobulinemia, which means there is deficient of very less immunocells in the body, especially IgA and IgM. When they are deficient in the genes, the person is prone to lot of infections in the body. And when these infections keep on coming again and again to a person, that person may develop a chronic focal infection. As we have already seen, a focal, one bronchus may get affected because of tuberculosis, and it might dilate due to destruction of the interstitium or the covering of the lung or the bronchus specifically. So this is the pathophysiology of bronchiectasis.